Hello everyone, my name is Ashwik, and today we'll be talking about a topic that every teenager thinks about but hardly ever talks about. And this is a topic that will make you realize who you truly are, what your true self is, what is your purpose of life. And for that to address, we have our friend Hima Varshith joining us today.
Hi Ashwik.
Hello. So, today, you might all be wondering what this topic is all about. It is nothing other than self discovery. And Mr. Himashit, what is self discovery all about? Many of our audiences might have no idea what self discovery is all about. So, for them, I say let's get the elephant out of the room.
According to me, self-discovery is a cyclic process which can be mapped into a flowchart, typically starting from self-awareness and then leading to the core purpose and values, and then the intentional actions and embracing growth and discovering yourself, stepping out of the comfort zone. When you discover yourself, you feel more confident and you feel comfortable in your own skin.
So you've brought up being comfortable in your own skin. Here, I really want to bring up a point. It is about societal pressure. This society pressures us in many different ways. Be it take this stream, take that stream, or do something, do that, do this. It all feels very burdened sometimes. And for them, the society has no idea who you truly are. You are the only person that knows yourself better than anybody else. For that, you must also have self judgment within yourself, which means you must differentiate between good or what is bad.
Yes.
So, many of our audiences might have discovered first time that what their true selves were. And what is your first time discovering that?
When I first self-discovered myself, I was this small and I was in grade 2, I guess. We had a dance competition and that was my first stage performance. Stage is very appealing and especially for people like me. But back then, I was very nervous because it was my first time and all the audience was staring into my soul. And that made me scared. And then the second music started and the spotlight shifted towards me, everything changed. The audience that I was scared became my strength. And that is when I discovered that stage is my strength and audience are my energy.
So, you're saying sometimes some talents are better being discovered by accident than by being spoon fed by somebody.
Yes.
Most of the people might have felt an epistemology of flaws for something or the other. And they might also overcome it. And for you, what is that?
That was a deep question. Last time I felt lost was right after school elections. I dreamt about that post for 3 years, worked day and night, and when the results came out, I felt lost for about 3 minutes. And then I asked myself, so what? You are still Hima Varshith. And that is when I discovered that how important self-love is. I loved myself so much that the result didn't make a change. And right after that, my dad called me and asked, should he pick me up? I said, no, I'll come by myself because I needed self-time. Moment where I can connect to myself truly, and that helped me a lot. I reflected upon my journey. I asked myself why I wanted that post. And my answer was to make people happy. And I realized that I can make people happy even without the post. And after going to my home, my parents expected me to be filled with grief, but they saw me smiling. That is when I discovered my father's tears in his eyes for the first time in my life. He was tears not of sadness, but tears of pride. He held me and said, I thought you couldn't handle failure, but you handle the biggest one till date with ease. You prove me wrong, my son. And then he said, my son is no more a boy. He's become a man. And that is when I discovered how brave I am. And all that this experience taught me was very crucial, that the best self-discovery is done when you are at the lowest. So instead of sitting and crying and letting it break you down, Use it to dig it deep and discover yourself.
So, what you truly mean is the resilience of handling the loss, and that is very well appreciated. And there must be some kind of doubt creeping into you that you cannot do something or achieve something. When was that? And how did you overcome that doubt?
Self-doubt is a part of everyone's life. And let's get back into the past again. When I was in 7th grade, I was truly struggling. Not only in studies, but also confidence and also my behavior. And after the grade 7, I had my annual report card in my hand. I felt very sad after looking at the marks. And that is when I discovered self-judgment for the first time. Self-judgment is not criticizing yourself. It's about being honest to yourself. I stood in front of the mirror and asked myself, is this you? Is this your level? No. You can do better and you will do better. And from then on, I raised my stakes. And from then on, there was no looking back. Not that I didn't get low score after that. I still get low scores, but the difference is the confidence I have. That confidence is not built normally. It's built on self-judgment and honesty.
You're also saying that you must set yourself goals that you can achieve, and also to surpass those goals that you've already set. And for that, resilience and courage is very important. That was very well said again. And for our audience, if there would be any advice that you would give from your student life, especially for our juniors or the general audience perhaps, what would it be?
I would say never give up. Never ever give up. Because even when you feel you're losing, even when you feel there are no chances you win, try till the very last second. Because there are chances you may win, and even if you don't win, you will discover your strengths and weaknesses which will help you discover yourself.
So you're saying, even if you don't win, it is those experiences of loss which will lead you to success again.
And also, I would say greediness is very important. As the protagonist in the movie KGF said, greed is good, greed is progress. I would completely agree with that statement. Because the moment you stop wanting to be better, you will stop discovering yourself. So always be hungry to be at the top.
I completely agree. I think that concludes today's podcast with me and Hima Varshith. So, with this podcast, you must conclude 2 remarks. First, you must question yourself every day. Have I self-discovered? Have you self-discovered? Did I set myself boundaries that I could cross? Second one, self-judgment, self-love is very important in your discovery of your self-discovery. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a nice day.